My boss blocked my flight to take over a $3 million deal. Oh no, Emma. That's strange. But she had no clue. The CEO had already chosen me. I smirked and said, "Enjoy the meeting. While you still can." Emma's fingers tightened around her phone, her nails pressing into her palm. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's no reservation under your name." The words hit like a slap. Her pulse spiked, a cold weight settling in her stomach. No, this had to be a mistake. A glitch. A system error. She forced herself to inhale slowly, controlling the rising panic. She had checked everything twice before leaving. The London deal was her breakthrough moment, a multi-million-dollar contract, a room full of decision-makers, all expecting her. And now, she was being told she wasn't even on the damn flight. Her grip on the phone tightened as she scrolled through her emails. The confirmation was right there, glaring back at her. She tapped the call button. "Kate, there's a problem with my flight." Her voice was steady, but her free hand curled into a fist at her side. A slow, deliberate pause. Then, that voice honeyed, laced with faux concern. "Oh no, Emma, that's strange. I booked it myself. Let me check." Emma clenched her teeth. She could picture it perfectly, Kate leaning back in her chair, smirking, enjoying every second of this. This wasn't the first time. The missing reports, the accidental miscommunications, the little power plays that always seemed to tilt in Kate's favor. She swallowed back the sharp reply bubbling on her tongue. Reacting now would only give Kate more satisfaction. Instead, Emma exhaled slowly, cold resolve settling in. "No need," she said, her voice smooth as steel. "I'll handle it myself." She ended the call before Kate could respond, her jaw tightening. Kate thought she'd won. But by the time Emma was done, she'd wish she never played this game at all. Emma walked out of the airport, heels clicking sharply against the pavement. The crisp morning air did nothing to cool the fire burning beneath her ribs. This wasn't just about a missed flight. It never was with Kate. Their war had started long before today. 1 year ago. "She's overrated." Emma hadn't meant to overhear it, but the words carried across the sleek, glass-walled conference room. She had just wrapped up a presentation that left the boardroom buzzing. Profits, expansion, strategy, every point hit with precision. But as she stepped out, she caught Kate's voice. Low, dismissive. "People act like she's some kind of genius, but let's be honest, she just got lucky. I've been in this business longer. If anyone deserves this project, it's me." Emma's fingers tightened around the stack of reports she was holding. It wasn't luck. She had spent years grinding, working late into the night while others schmoozed their way up. And yet, no matter how much she achieved, Kate always had something to say. 9 months ago. The email had been short and brutal. "Your proposal was missing key financial projections. The client is reconsidering." Emma stared at the screen, heart dropping. That wasn't possible. She had double-checked the numbers. But when she pulled up the shared drive, her file was altered. A single, critical section deleted. And the last edit? Kate. Emma had gone straight to their boss. The IT logs confirmed the change, but Kate played the part flawlessly. Wide eyes, innocent confusion, and an expertly crafted apology. "Oh, that? God, Emma, I must have clicked something by accident. I swear, it wasn't intentional." Her boss waved it off. A simple mistake. No harm done. Emma had walked out of that office knowing 2 things. Kate wasn't careless. She was calculated. Next time, Emma wouldn't give her the chance to play innocent. 6 months ago, Emma sat across from a high-profile client, listening to Kate's syrupy tone as she subtly twisted the conversation. "I mean, of course, Emma's great. She's just very ambitious. Sometimes she takes on a bit more than she can handle." The client had hesitated. Just for a second. That was all it took. A shadow of doubt planted, a perfectly placed seed of sabotage. Emma had smiled, filed it away, and promised herself, one day, she'd return the favor. 3 months ago. The presentation had been perfect. Sharp, clear, persuasive. Emma had spent weeks refining every slide, knowing the senior board members would be watching. Then, 5 minutes before the meeting, her screen froze. Login error. Access denied. Her stomach twisted as she tried again. Nothing. She grabbed her phone and called IT. The answer made her blood run cold. Your credentials were manually revoked an hour ago. Her eyes snapped to the glass office across the hall. Kate. By the time Emma regained access, the meeting was over. And Kate? She had stepped in, delivering Emma's pitch as if it were her own. At the end of the meeting, she had smiled, shaking the CEO's hand. I'm so glad I could bring this strategy to life. Emma had watched from the doorway, her nails biting into her palms. Kate didn't just steal, she made sure to take the credit. Emma had said nothing that day, but she had memorized every detail, the smug tilt of Kate's lips, the way she had basked in the board's praise. And now, standing outside the airport, Emma felt the weight of every betrayal stacking up. Present day. She exhaled, then rolled her shoulders back, adjusting the strap of her bag. War it is. If Kate wanted a war, she'd get one. And when Emma was done, there wouldn't be anything left to salvage. Kate liked playing with fire. But she had no idea how much Emma had been waiting for this. Kate's ascent, or so she thinks. Kate sat in the sleek, glass-walled boardroom, exuding confidence. This was her moment. She had orchestrated it perfectly. Emma was stranded. And now, she was the only one here to seal the deal. She straightened her shoulders, smoothing a hand down her perfectly pressed blazer. Everyone was watching her now. Across the table, executives whispered, exchanging glances. Some curious, some skeptical. But it didn't matter. By the end of this meeting, they would see her as the leader. She had spent years weaving this narrative. Emma was unreliable, reckless, too ambitious for her own good. And today, it would finally stick. She could already picture it. The approving nods from senior management. The CEO's handshake, solidifying her position. The moment she stepped out of this room as the face of the company's biggest project. She forced herself not to smile yet. Not until the win was official. It's unfortunate that Emma couldn't make it, she said, voice smooth, measured. But I'm more than prepared to take this forward. I've been involved in every aspect of the strategy. A perfect lie. And no one here could prove otherwise. Or so she thought. The slow collapse. Logan Pierce, the CEO, flipped through the contract in front of him. Too slowly. Kate's stomach gave the smallest lurch, but she forced herself to hold still. He's just being thorough, she told herself. Nothing to worry about. But then, he shut the file. And when he finally lifted his gaze, his eyes were cold. Kate, he said lightly, almost conversationally. Tell me, when exactly did you finalize the details of this project? Her fingers twitched against the polished surface of the table. Over the past few weeks, she answered quickly. I've put in a lot of effort to refine our approach. Logan murmured. He leaned forward slightly, resting his elbows on the table. Too casual. Too controlled. The unease coiled tighter in her gut. That's interesting, he said. Kate's breath hitched. Because Emma and I spoke this morning. From the airport. The words crashed over her like a cold wave. She barely stopped herself from flinching. A silence settled over the room. Executives stiffened, their gazes flickering between her and Logan. The tide was shifting. Kate fought to keep her expression neutral, but her throat had gone dry. Logan didn't let her speak. He leaned back, fingers steepled. And she sent me her final proposal. The one she personally developed. Kate's nails dug into her palm. No. She couldn't let this happen. Of course, Emma's contributions were valuable, she said quickly, scrambling for control. But Logan exhaled, flipping a page in the contract with deliberate slowness. You know, he continued, there's something else that caught my attention. Kate's stomach lurched. Emma's version includes detailed cost projections and risk mitigation strategies. Yours. He turned another page. Too slow. Too damning. Does not. Another ripple of whispers spread across the room. And just like that, she knew. It was over. Someone shifted in their seat. A glance exchanged. A barely audible murmur. And then, effective immediately, "You're off this project." The words slammed into her like a wrecking ball. Kate's vision blurred at the edges. No, this isn't happening. She tried to speak, tried to salvage something, anything, but no words came out. Because it was over. The glances around the room were changing, people turning away from her, as if she no longer existed. She had spent years crafting her rise. And in the span of 5 minutes, it was gone. Emma's arrival, the final blow. A sharp click, click, click of heels echoed through the hallway. And then, Emma stepped into the boardroom. The whispers stopped. One of the executives near the door straightened, then shifted slightly to the side, almost instinctively. The air in the room changed. Kate's breath caught. Their eyes met. And in that instant, she knew. Emma had planned this. This wasn't just a comeback. This was annihilation. Someone near the door adjusted their tie, avoiding Kate's gaze. Another turned slightly in their chair, as if already distancing themselves. The weight of the moment settled like iron in her chest. Logan barely glanced at Kate now. Instead, he nodded at Emma, his expression returning to one of respect. "Welcome back, Miss Carter," he said. His voice was firm. Final. Like a gavel slamming down. The room had already made its decision. Kate was no longer part of it. Her hands clenched into fists under the table. And then she saw it. Emma's smile. Subtle. Controlled. Deadly. Game on. Kate stormed out of the boardroom, her heels hitting the polished floor with sharp, clipped sounds. She barely registered the glances thrown her way, the wary stares, the hushed whispers. This wasn't happening. Her breath came in short, shallow bursts as she reached her office. She slammed the door shut, hands shaking as she braced them against her desk. This was just a setback. It had to be. She had worked too hard, played the game too well, to be undone in a single meeting. Her mind raced for solutions. Damage control. She needed to. Her email pinged. Her stomach twisted as she clicked the notification. From Logan Pierce. Subject, immediate reassignment. She skimmed the first few lines, but the words blurred together. Effective immediately, all responsibilities related to the London project will be transferred to Emma Carter. Your position within the company will be reevaluated pending further review. Kate's hands clenched into fists. She had lost. And worse, she had lost to Emma. A fresh wave of anger surged through her. No. She refused to accept this. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, ready to fire back an email, demand a meeting, anything to regain control. Then, another email came in. This time, from HR. Kate's blood ran cold. Emma stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows of her new office, overlooking the city skyline. Her office. The space was still sparse, she hadn't even had time to move her things in yet. But it didn't matter. She had won. Behind her, Logan Pierce sat across from her desk, a satisfied smirk on his face. "You played that well," he said. Emma turned, arching a brow. "I didn't play. I just took back what was mine." Logan chuckled. "That's what I like about you, Carter. You don't just fight back. You make sure there's nothing left standing when you're done." She didn't deny it. Across the room, an assistant knocked lightly before stepping inside. "Miss Carter, Kate's resignation has been formally processed." Emma exhaled, a slow, controlled breath. Good. There was no gloating. No celebration. Because this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. Emma picked up the folder on her desk, the next major deal she was about to close. As she flipped it open, a small smile ghosted across her lips. Let's get to work. The world moved on. Kate did not. 6 months had passed since that fateful boardroom meeting. 6 months of silence. 6 months of closed doors, polite rejections, and forced smiles that didn't quite reach people's eyes. The corporate world was brutal. Once you fell, there were no second chances. She had learned that the hard way. Every attempt to claw her way back had been met with the same, empty words. "We'll be in touch. We've decided to go in a different direction." Given recent events, we don't think this would be the right fit. A euphemism. A lie. They didn't want her. They feared her. She had spent years carving out her place at the top, only for Emma to wipe her out in a single day. And now? Now, she was no one. Sitting in a dimly lit cafe, she scrolled through news updates on her phone. And there she was. Emma Carter. Flawless. Unshaken. Featured in a glowing article about corporate leadership and strategic success. Kate's grip tightened around her coffee cup, the cheap ceramic growing hot under her fingers. The accompanying photo showed Emma standing beside Logan Pierce, shaking hands at a press conference, accepting yet another multi-million-dollar contract. Unstoppable. Unchallenged. Untouchable. Kate exhaled slowly, forcing her shoulders to relax, but the weight in her chest remained. Emma hadn't just beaten her. She had erased her. For the first time, Kate allowed herself to feel the depth of her loss. No title. No influence. No reputation. It wasn't just the job she had lost. It was everything. And yet, she wasn't done. Not yet. Her nails tapped against the coffee cup as an idea took root, curling through her mind like a slow-burning ember. The game wasn't over. It was simply paused. For now, Emma stood in the same boardroom where, 6 months ago, she had taken everything from Kate. Only this time, she wasn't fighting for her place. She owned it. Executives hung onto her every word as she delivered the final terms of the company's latest acquisition. Every detail had been calculated, every number perfected. Across the table, Logan Pierce watched her with a knowing smirk. He knew exactly what she had done to get here, and he respected it. The meeting concluded with a round of firm handshakes and approving nods. Another victory. Another deal closed. As Emma gathered her files, she moved with the quiet confidence of someone who belonged here. No more sabotage. No more stolen work. No more Kate. She had rewritten the script of her life, and there was no room for ghosts from the past. Or so she thought. As she stepped out of the boardroom, she caught a glimpse of her own reflection in the glass walls. The same woman, but different. Sharper. Stronger. Unforgiving. A flicker of movement outside the office caught her eye. Just for a second. A woman in a dark coat, standing across the street. Staring. The moment passed, but a cold prickle ran down Emma's spine. She turned back to her reflection. She had learned something valuable in her war with Kate. Power wasn't given. It was taken. And she had no intention of ever losing it again. Emma adjusted the strap of her bag and walked forward without looking back. But for the first time in months, she had the distinct, nagging feeling. Someone was watching. Game over. Or was it? Update. 1 year later. Kate, the vanished. It had been 1 year since the day she lost everything. Kate had disappeared from the corporate world, not by choice, but by force. No one would touch her. Her reputation had turned toxic, her name whispered as a cautionary tale in industry circles. You remember what happened to Kate? Yeah, that was brutal. She had it coming. Every door she knocked on was locked. Every connection she tried to use had already distanced themselves. She wasn't just unemployed, she was erased. She had tried to reinvent herself. Smaller firms. International markets. Consulting. But no matter where she went, Emma's shadow loomed over her. One day, scrolling through business headlines, she saw another feature on Emma Carter. Emma had just been named one of the top 10 most influential women in business. Kate slammed her laptop shut. She had spent a year trying to rebuild. And Emma hadn't thought about her once. That was the worst part. She hadn't just lost. She had become irrelevant. The gala was buzzing with energy. Industry leaders, investors, CEOs, all gathered to celebrate the most powerful figures of the year. At the center of it all, Emma Carter. She stood on the stage, accepting her award with effortless grace. As the cameras flashed, she took a moment to let it sink in. 1 year ago, she had been fighting for her place. Now, she was the one setting the rules. After the ceremony, Logan Pierce clinked his glass against hers. A full year at the top, Carter. She smirked, sipping her champagne. And I'm just getting started. Power wasn't given. It was taken. And she had no intention of ever letting it go. Game over. For everyone else.